Welcome back to Horse Talk Live on Rural TV. I'm your host, Lizzie Iwerson, and we're talking team penning today with the creators of the Team Penner's Edge, a DVD that you can order as of today and learn more about the fine art of team penning. Well, Roger, why don't you explain to our viewers why this DVD is handy if a person, you give clinics, but it may be better to watch the DVD before you come to a clinic. Before you go to a competition, you know, what are some of the benefits of that DVD?
For the person that's coming to the clinic, I think it gives them an idea of what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
It goes, well, it does. It absolutely goes through, I think we hit on there even how to enter one. So it kind of gives everybody a real big, a real big idea of what's about to happen and what they're going to learn. And they can watch this without knowing anything and have a real good idea. You know, it's not a clinic in a can. We're never going to be able to take away being in the saddle, going to a clinic, but it'll sure give you a heads up coming into it. For the person that's been penning, been entering, they can go back. It's all under chapters and positions. They can go back there and get solid on all the positions, get any questions answered they might have.
Okay.
So I just think it'd be real handy for both.
Okay. And as you started out as beginners not too long ago, and sometimes it is intimidating in any equine sport where you show up. It's kind of hard to get your foot in the door. You may be a little intimidated about not only practicing and being there, but entering and things. So how does it help with that?
Well, I think one of the things is that there's so much information and you can only retain so much. And so that was one of the things I got to thinking when we thought of this idea was, a lot goes on, but you only retain so much. So you can go home, replay the areas that you might have forgotten, or just when you rewatch it, you just learn again so much more, and you're able to apply that in your competition.
Okay.
And I think especially as a beginner, it's like Cal said, there's so much information, it's overwhelming, and you might only retain from your first clinic, you might only retain a very small percentage of what you learned. Yeah. If I would have loved to have been able to watch this for a month or a couple of weeks before my first clinic. Yeah. And I think then I would have been able to absorb so much more and focus on some of the finer points.
Sure.
Rather than just being overwhelmed by all the positions and how do we read cattle and all of these things. It's a lot. Yeah. Team penning is a great sport for that reason. It's a great dynamic with 3 people on a team and 30 head of cattle and all that. But it also is a lot going on within 30 or 40 seconds trying to get those cattle out of the herd and pin them.
Okay. And how come you chose Roger to be your partner on this project?
Well, he's just really got a heart for teaching. I took a couple of his clinics, and we spent some time at his ranch a few years back. And he's got just a heart and a passion for this sport. And he likes to see people have fun and be successful with it. And he teaches it in a way that it's understandable. Okay. It's easy to learn. It makes sense the way he teaches. He doesn't get too technical about things, but he gives you some great ways to focus on reading cattle.
Well, you're not only working with the team here, you're working with 30 other brains going out there at the cows. So is it hard creating a system? You can't predict every time. Every run's not going to be the same. So how did you develop a method?
Well, my thing is, it doesn't matter where you're at in the arena, what's going on, there's always a position. I'm a big position guy.
Okay.
I don't want to come out of the arena and have a no time because I was out of position. I want people that I teach to have an understanding and make snap decisions. They gotta, it doesn't happen correctly each time we go out there, and you have to make a split decision, and you got to know the positions and what to do. So when you're working with 30 head of cattle, it's tough. It's real tough.
But that's what also makes it so much fun.
Yeah.
Luck of the draw, and you never know what's going to happen, no matter how good you are.
When it goes good. when it goes good, it's just thrilling. Yeah. It really is.
So the most important part, however, of all of this is the horses that we're riding. What advice do you have for people that have horses that maybe want to get into it? What kind of horse makes for a good team penning horse?
Well, people, depending on their level too, what I try to tell them, if they know their horse has been on cattle, I would suggest getting it somewhere. First of all, make sure it's okay with cattle.
Okay.
As long as they're okay with cattle, and you're a beginner, you're going to start slow. So you got to read that. What I like to do when just the everyday person comes up to me is I always kind of want to push them towards a ranch gelding, something that's been there, done that. That type of thing. When they become clients of mine and whatnot, we look for a horse for them. I try to just put them on a little bit higher caliber horse than what they're used to. It's what I did with my kids. I always pushed I always had horses that kind of pushed my kids, and as soon as they got to that point, I put them on another horse. It's kind of the same thing with the clients, So as long as their horse isn't afraid of cattle, then I suggest they try it.
Okay. And did you all three have children, involved in the sport or getting involved? So it is a family sport. It's something
Absolutely.
that, any level can do. So Team Penning, again, it supports beginners as well as advanced, and they do that with a numbering system, correct?
Right. They've got each club is going to have a rating system.
Okay.
Where you're rated by a committee, and it makes it nice because then everybody's kind of on the same playing field, and depending on your level, if you're a beginner, the open riders can pick you up.
Okay.
So it makes it nice that way. That works well.
Yeah, if you're a fairly capable beginner, you'll be popular with the open riders and the higher rated riders to fill in teams.
Yeah, so it's not just one team like stacked up, all three
Right.
advanced
Right.
against three
Right.
beginners, trying to make it an even
Different
playing field.
classes. You got the open class,
Okay.
and then they go down from there all the way down to the green novice class.
And you yourself are a two-time Open USTPA champion.
Yeah.
So you've made it all the way up. Folks can participate in their local association, and it doesn't have to be the USTPA, the United States Team Penning Association. There's also local associations that you can get involved in and move way up and maybe have a buckle like Rogers over here that says you're a world champion someday. What about any specific tack that a rider would need to be a team penner?
Well, team penning is a two-handed sport.
Okay.
So regardless of where the horse is in training, it could be a straight-up bridle horse, reiner, cutter, anything. I put snaffles on all my team penners. We need the direct rein. We need the lateral flexion.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do in team penning basically is run in, cut a cow out of a herd, and leave out of a herd of 30, cut one cow, leave 29 standing there. So if we got our horse straight up in the bridle, we're riding one-handed, we're going to be bringing a lot of trash with us. So you got to have that lateral flexion to get that shape on the cow, and it's a snaffle bit sport.
Okay. Well, we heard Roger just say the word trash, and I believe that's a team penning term. That's one of the things that y'all cover in this DVD is some of this terminology and the definition, so that when you show up and somebody says trash, you're like, what trash, So,
You wonder if they're calling you trash.
yeah, hopefully not. I hope that doesn't happen when I start. But how important, that definition section in the DVD is pretty important.
Yeah, and that determines a lot on how your run goes as well.
Okay.
If you're putting a lot of pressure on your partner with a lot of extra cows, or dirty cattle, as you can also
Okay.
call them, it makes their job twice as hard and makes the run a lot more complicated.
Okay.
So as a cutter, if you can come fairly clean, it works a lot better.
Okay. And so the communication, it's a team sport, obviously team penning, so you want to be able to communicate effectively because we are working against the clock here. We want to have the fastest time because that's going to bring you a paycheck. So a big part of this DVD is all having your teammates. If you watch it, you better have your teammate watch it so y'all are using the same words and the same definitions to accomplish the same goal. What is it about the having teams? Do you feel like it's an advantage in this sport? Is it something that makes it a little bit harder?
Well, it's always hard when you got a team. Just team roping, team penning, it's all the same. You got to get along with other people. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
Easier said than done sometimes.
But it's not a judged event. It's a timed event. So it's important that all the team members are on the same page. And I get people in clinics all the time where they say, "Man, I wish my partner could have came here." And
Yeah.
all I could say before was, "I wish they could have too." But now, you know, in the DVD, it gives everybody, kind of gets them up to speed. We're not trying to replace the actual getting on your horse and getting in a herd of cattle, because you gotta have that.
Okay.
But it sure gives you, it at least puts everybody on the same page.
Sure. Well, you yourself can get a hold of this DVD at teampennersedge.com and order it out. It's just in stock today is the first day, so you'll be treated to not only the DVDs. Kathy, tell us what else that folks will receive when they order.
Well, the other thing we've included is a really nice little booklet, call it the work booklet, and it'll just reiterate some of the more maybe important details for you to cover. Some people, you know, might do better reading it and writing down the answers. So that, and then we also have a nice little CD here that's just a nice little preparation for maybe if you're traveling down the road to a show and need to get your mind right. You know, you can just listen to some tips on what you might do to get your, you know, get your focus on, get your game face on.
Yeah.
And also in the offering is a really nice little certificate that we have that you know, each member that buys the DVD will be able to have 3 runs evaluated by Roger, and that's always
huge.
helpful when you
Yeah.
can, you know, see
yeah.
what goes on, and then you can come back and have some expert advice as to where you might have been able to improve on your run.
Well, you can also order the DVD by phone. We have that phone number. And then you have a Facebook page as well where folks can go. Roger has a website, and it is
Silverwingsteampenning.com.
Okay, and he has his clinic schedule updated on Facebook, so check out his Facebook page every once in a while to see where he's going to be. And every once in a while, he has a good team pen and horse for sale. He's a matchmaker. If you're looking to get into the sport, then get a hold of Roger. Get a hold of this DVD here to help you out in getting started or perfecting your team penning. So stick around. We'll get a little bit more in-depth about what you can expect when you order this DVD, The Team Penner's Edge. Don't go anywhere. We'll also be taking your phone calls when we get back, 877-731-6733. So stick around. We'll be back with more on Horse Talk Live.